We have Harvest Moon One World coming up on March 2nd. Supposed to be on the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One. Of course, if you have the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, you'll be able to play it on those game systems, concerning the fact that they're backwards compatible with older generation games. But the real question that people have for Harvest Moon One World is whether or not it's going to live up to desired expectations, and that's something that people are very uncertain of, because the farm simulation genre of gaming is one that I guess it kind of got somewhat popular over the past decade or so, mainly like with Harvest Moon and all its spin-offs. And then I believe you had the Farm Simulator series, which began in '08. It started to kind of get somewhat popular in the teens decade, not to a point where it would receive mainstream attention over action adventure and RPG or shooter titles. But it's noticeable, because I remember back in the 90s the farm simulation genre was not really a thing. I know the very first Harvest Moon game from '96 for the SNES came out, but still the farm simulation genre was almost non-existent, and it's something that kind of started to take off and get noticed during the 2000s decade, but it got more popular during the teens decade. And as far as the Harvest Moon series is concerned, the last installment that we got to see was Friends Mineral of Town, which came out back in October of 2019. And as far as this upcoming game is concerned, basically we have learned that there's going to be new features that distinguish this upcoming game, Harvest Moon One World, from its predecessor. Some interesting features include the ability for players to receive and produce different crops depending on the player's location. Also, being able to plant seeds after interacting with harvest whiffs. Also, there's no nighttime curfews. Also, harsh weather conditions could be detrimental to a player's health, and there's going to be an exclusion of same-sex marriages, which is something that might draw a little bit of controversy from certain groups of people and just certain people in general, depending on who you are. But those are all features that are going to be included in this upcoming game. And while there are some people who are looking forward to Harvest Moon One World, there are other people who are not really impressed, because a lot of people feel that the game might not be quite as good as some of the older installments, like Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life, which came out back in 2003 during the GameCube era. And then you also had Harvest Moon Trio of Towns, which came out back in 2016, which was also a part of the Story of Seasons series, and it came out for Nintendo 3DS. And as many people know, Nintendo 3DS was very popular, so obviously that game was popular too. Seeing how popular Nintendo Switch is, how popular the PS4 is, and the Xbox One is to some extent, this game will definitely get a fair amount of exposure. I'm not expecting any type of record-breaking sales or anything like that. In fact, I'll be surprised if it hit 1 million, but if it did, that'd be pretty cool, and it'd be something that would be surprising to me. But the farm simulation genre of gaming, I feel like it's more popular now than it's ever been, and that's saying a lot, because back in the teens and even the 2000s to some extent, it wasn't too popular, but it was kind of like a blimp on the radar in terms of stuff that people would consider on getting. Even though the Farm Simulation series, which began in '08, even though it's more realistic in terms of visuals and all that stuff, the Harvest Moon series is one that's, pretty fun, and it's family-like, and it's, it appeals more to children than I think it does to adults. And as far as Harvest Moon games in general is concerned, it'd be pretty cool if if we had future Harvest Moon games that kind of went back to the pixel-styled artwork that we got in the SNES era, kind of similar to that of Stardew Valley, which came out back in 2018. I know that was such a big deal when it came out, and it was a game that I believe that actually received mainstream attention to some extent. So if Natsume decide to go back to, 16-bit pixel art graphics for Harvest Moon games, I think the nostalgia would definitely be something that would catch headlines, and it's something that would turn heads within the gaming world and all that. But this upcoming game, visually, it looks pretty decent, and it's something that has the potential to be one of the best farm simulation games of 2021.